The Piscatorial Farce of the Stolen Stomach by Dorothy Sayers. Narrated by Peter Coates. "What in the world," said Lord Peter Wimsey, "is that?" Thomas MacPherson disengaged the tall jar from its final swathings of paper and straw and set it tenderly upright beside the coffee pot. "That," he said, "is Great-Uncle Joseph's legacy." "And who is Great-Uncle Joseph?" "He was my mother's uncle, name of Ferguson. Eccentric old boy. I was rather a favourite of his." "It looks like it. Was that all he left you?" He said a good digestion was the most precious thing a man could have." "Well, he was right there. Is this his? Was it a good one?" "Good enough. He lived to be 95 and never had a day's illness." Wimsey looked at the jar with increased respect. "What did he die of?" "Knocked himself out of a 6th-story window. He had a stroke and the doctors told him, or he guessed for himself, that it was the beginning of the end. He left a letter, said he'd never been ill in his life and wasn't going to begin now. They brought it in temporary insanity, of course, but I think he was thoroughly sensible." "I should say so. What was he when he was functioning?" "He used to be in business, something to do with shipbuilding, I believe, but he retired long ago. He was what the papers call a recluse, lived all by himself in a little top flat in Glasgow and saw nobody. Used to go off by himself for days at a time. Nobody knew where or why. I used to look him up about once a year and take him a bottle of whiskey." "Had he any money?" "Nobody knew. He ought to have. He was a rich man when he retired, but when we came to look into it, it turned out he only had a balance of about £500 in the Glasgow bank. Apparently he drew out almost everything he had about 20 years ago. There were 1 or 2 big bank failures around about that time, and they thought he must have got the wind up. But what he did with it, goodness only knows." "Kept it in an old stocking, I expect." "I should think Cousin Robert devoutly hopes so." "Cousin Robert?" "He's the residuary legatee, distant connection of mine and the only remaining Ferguson. He was awfully wild when he found out he'd only got 500. He's rather a bright lad, is Robert, and a few thousands would have come in handy." "I see. Well, how about a bit of brekker? You might stick Great-Uncle Joseph out of the way somewhere. I don't care about the looks of him." "I thought you were rather partial to anatomical specimens." "So I am, but not on the breakfast table. A place for everything and everything in its place, as my grandmother used to say. Besides, it would give Maggie a shock if she saw it." MacPherson laughed and transferred the jar to a cupboard. "Maggie's shock-proof. I brought a few odd bones and things with me."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?